Zura had never known luxury. Born into a family drowning in poverty and illness, her days began and ended with the sight of her mother coughing in bed and her father pushing himself beyond his limits just to bring home a few rupees. They lived in a small, crumbling house on the edge of a town that never looked their way. Despite their suffering, Zura's parents had one dream that kept them alive. They wanted their daughter to escape this life. With every rupee saved, with every meal skipped, they slowly scraped together enough to get Zura into university. It wasn't easy. Her mother sold the last gold bangles she owned. Her father worked double shifts even when his chest tightened and his vision blurred. And Zura? She studied in candlelight, with old books borrowed from neighbors, her mind full of hope. Zura was a quiet girl, the kind who never looked people in the eye too long. She was deeply respectful, soft-spoken, and painfully aware of her reality. She owned only a few stitched suits, simple, faded, and in places, torn. Each morning she wore one of them, neatly ironed, praying no one would notice how old it was. But people did notice. In the hallways and classrooms of her university, she became a silent subject of mockery. Her classmates would glance at her with smirks and whisper, "Is that the same suit from last week?" Or, "I bet she owns just 2 or 3, and even those look like they've seen war." Zura never reacted. She kept her head down and her heart guarded. Among her classmates was Alina, a girl who lived a life opposite to Zura's. Alina arrived at university each day in a different designer outfit, matching shoes, perfect makeup, and sometimes even in a new car. Her perfume filled the air before she even entered the room. She laughed loud, partied louder, and believed money could buy anything, including dignity. Alina often invited Zura to her late-night parties. "Why don't you come with us for once?" she'd tease. "It's fun. You'll meet people. Who knows? Maybe someone will like you and throw some money your way." Zura would always smile politely, her eyes filled with quiet pain. She was her father's daughter, raised on values, not vanity. The idea of selling herself for fun, money, or freedom never even crossed her mind. She had seen too much suffering to fall into that world. Despite the struggles, her father somehow managed to pay her tuition for the first 2 semesters. But fate was merciless. One day, he collapsed at work. It was a heart attack, severe and sudden. After that, he couldn't work anymore. Hospital bills, medicines, and the crushing weight of reality fell on Zura's shoulders. From then on, every semester's fee was delayed. Teachers began to single her out. "You haven't paid again," they would say in front of the whole class. "Maybe you're not serious about your education." Zura didn't cry in front of them, but at night, in the corner of her small hostel room, she let it out silently. To support her family and keep herself afloat, Zura took up a part-time job at a local office. She'd attend university during the day, and by evening, she'd be filing papers and making tea for people who barely noticed her existence. She was exhausted, but she held on. Her parents had believed in her, and that belief was her fuel. But just when she thought things couldn't get worse, they did. In her final semester, Zura's supervisor informed her that her final project would require 300,000 rupees. The amount was a mountain she couldn't even imagine climbing. Panicked, Zura called home. No one picked up. She sent messages. She prayed. But deep down, she knew the truth. Her father couldn't help this time. He had already given everything he had, and more. Zura sat on the edge of her hostel bed, clutching her phone like it was the last string tying her to hope. The screen was dark, no missed calls, no replies. Each minute that passed without a response felt like another brick added to the weight pressing down on her chest. She had never asked for much in life, but now, when she needed help the most, silence was the only thing answering her prayers. She sent one last voice message to her parents, her voice trembling. "Abu, Amy, please. I know it's a lot, but it's my final semester. My last chance. I'll pay you back. I promise. Just, please try." But the message was met with more silence. The deadline was drawing closer. Zura, already juggling her part-time job, asked her boss if she could take an advance. She waited outside his office for over an hour, her hands cold with anxiety. When she was finally called in, she hesitated before speaking. "Sir, I need an advance. I know I'm new, but it's for my university project. I'll work overtime, weekends too." Her boss leaned back in his chair, stared at her for a moment, and then let out a sarcastic laugh. "Advance," he repeated. "You don't even have a degree yet. I gave you this job out of pity, and now you're asking for *3 larks* in advance." Zura's cheeks burned with shame. She lowered her gaze, unable to speak. "I could replace you with someone better in a day," he added coldly. "Be grateful you even have a desk here." Zura left the office humiliated, her tears falling the moment she stepped outside. She walked back to her hostel under the dull streetlights, each step heavier than the last. She had no idea what to do next. Her future, which once looked like a path lined with her parents' sacrifices and her own hard work, now felt like it was falling apart brick by brick. Back at the hostel, she found herself sitting alone, staring blankly at the cracked ceiling. Her mind raced with questions. Was all this for nothing? Will I lose everything after coming this far? That's when her classmate Maya walked into the room. Maya, with her flawless hair, bright lipstick, and designer bag, had always lived a different life, yet she had a strange sort of softness towards Zura. Maybe she respected her silence. Maybe she pitied her. Or maybe she saw something in her that reminded her of a version of herself. "You look like hell," Maya said, sitting beside her. Zura gave a faint smile. "Feels worse than it looks." Maya paused for a moment, then leaned in closer. "Look, I can help you," she said. "There's a way to get money fast. One night, one party, one rich guy. That's it. You'll get what you need." Zura's heart froze. "No," she whispered immediately. "I can't." "Come on," Maya said softly. "I know girls who've done it. You're beautiful, smart. You'll just talk, maybe flirt a little. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. But if you do, he'll pay even more." Zura stood up, backing away like the words were poison. "I'd rather die than sell myself." Maya rolled her eyes. "Suit yourself. she said, getting up to leave. "But if you change your mind, let me know." That night, Zura cried harder than she ever had before. Not because of the offer, but because, for one fleeting second, she had considered it. The next evening, Zura sat silently in Maya's room. In front of her lay a red dress, shiny, elegant, and revealing. It looked less like clothing and more like a warning. Zura's hands trembled as she reached out to touch the fabric. Maya stood behind her, brushing her hair gently, applying light lipstick to her pale lips, and fastening a delicate necklace around her neck. Then she smiled and said, "Zura, you look just like a doll tonight." Zura gave no reply. Maya smiled wider, clearly pleased with her work. Zura was stunning. The quiet, simple girl in faded clothes was now transformed into something unreal. As they got into the car to leave for the party, Zura felt like her soul had stayed behind. Every step toward that place was heavier than the last. "What am I doing?" The question screamed inside her head. When they entered the party, Zura's breath caught. The lights were low, music soft and seductive, and the air smelled of perfume and alcohol. Laughter echoed from every corner. Girls sparkled in designer dresses. Men in expensive suits watched her like she didn't belong, yet they couldn't look away. Then he appeared. A well-groomed businessman, older than her, oozing confidence and money. He smiled, introduced himself politely, and offered her a drink. Zura refused, but he wasn't offended. He leaned in closer, asked about her studies, her interests, his voice smooth like velvet laced with temptation. Zura answered with fake smiles, the kind Maya told her would keep a man hooked. Her body sat beside him. Her mind was far away, locked behind shame and doubt. As the hours passed, words became touches. And then she crossed the line. For **3 larks**, Zura gave away something she had protected her entire life, not just her body, but her dignity, her soul. It was over quickly. A black envelope was placed in her trembling hands. She clutched it tightly, as if it could reverse what she'd done. It couldn't. She returned